Here's the story of a lovely lady who was bringing up three very lovely girls. All of them had hair of gold, like their mother, the youngest one in curls.
It's the story of a man named Brady who was busy with three boys of his own. They were formed and living all together, yet they were all alone. Till the one day when the lady met this fellow, and they knew that it was much more than a hunch, that this group must somehow form a family. That's the way we all became the Brady Bunch, the Brady Bunch, the Brady Bunch. That's the way we became the Brady Bunch.
Today's training is going to focus on how to create a work task on the fly. This training is designed to provide information to nearly all employees in the maintenance shop at the state hospitals and state supported living centers that deal with creating work orders / work tasks on the fly. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and log into CAFM 9. If you haven't already seen the movies related to your portal and related to logging in, please go check with those before viewing this video. I'm going to go ahead and log in as a CAFM specialist just for purposes of demonstration. And the way you create a work task on the fly is in your Quick Add section. Now for some of you, your Quick Add section is over here on the right hand side of your portal. For others of you, it's down here. For CAFM specialists, it's over on the left hand side of the portal. But look for the Quick Add section on your portal, and you'll see a link on there that says sh/SSLC work task, and that's where you would go to create a work task. So I'm going to click on that link, and that opens a brand new work task in a window. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about all of the fields on the work task. For those of you that are used to working in our old software facility center, some of these fields are going to be new, and so I'm going to talk about each and every one of them as I move forward. The first thing you need to do is you need to type in a description of the work that's going to be done. So in this instance, I'm going to say renovate bathroom in building 501. The description can be as much as you want or as little as you want, as long as you talk about the work that is being done. The next field is this regulatory issue. Relates to hazardous materials, and so with the bathroom renovation, we're going to assume that there may be some lead-based paint in the tile. You would have to check your hazardous material binders at your local facility to check this, but for the purposes of demonstration, I'm going to simply say yes, this is a regulatory issue, and if so, what kind. I need to specify what kind of regulatory issue it is. And the way I do that is by clicking on this tennis racket looking icon, which is called a locator icon. I'm going to go ahead and click on that. What that does is it brings up the data that's available to complete and fill in this field. Those values are asbestos, chemicals, fuel, lead, PCB, refrigerants, and waste, just for this particular field. In this instance, I'm going to select lead by clicking once on it, and then it'll automatically fill that in. Now, if I accidentally clicked on the wrong value or I changed my mind later on, I could click on this erase icon right here, and it will remove the value from this field. I'm going to go ahead and click on lead again. The next field is this a safety related issue. Simply just relates to whether it's a life safety code issue or not. And there are several values in the list field where you can specify what kind of safety related issue it is. In this case, it's not a safety-related issue, so I'm going to leave this blank, but I'm just letting you know that you would check this field if it was, and then you would pick an appropriate value for the kind of safety issue. In this field you have door lock hazard, electrical hazard, fire system malfunction, railing hazard, trip hazard, and window hazard. And I'd also like to say that if you need any values added to either one of these two lists, you can submit a ticket to the CAFM office and indicate that you would like a different value added or a value removed. Can't guarantee that we'll remove them, but chances are we will provide you with the value that you want there. The next field is the task type field. If you're creating a task on the fly, it's automatically going to select corrective, and we use the terms corrective and demand interchangeably. So this is a corrective task. The other types of values for this field you can look at by clicking again on the locator icon, and those include move, planned, preventive, reservation, and service. Really the only ones that the hospitals and living centers are concerned with is whether it's corrective or whether it's planned and preventive. The other types are for other types of tasks. The default value on the task priority field is medium. Again, you can click on the locator icon to select a different task priority. I'm going to click on the locator icon. I'm going to select high as my task priority. The next field deals with the work group or the shop. This is a little bit different kind of locator icon. You'll notice that the locator icon here doesn't have a green square next to it. What the green square indicates is that rather than showing a list of values that you can pick for the field, it's going to return an entire query of values that you can then filter and find the value that you're looking for. So let me demonstrate this. I'm going to click on the locator icon with the green square. And now you can see it's returning 618 records. That's a long list to try to scroll through. So what's available for you to find your records are what are called runtime filters. And these are the filters at the top of every single query where you can type a wildcard search and find what it is that you're looking for. So if I just wanted to find the shops for my facility, I could type a value of 682. And then I can either click enter on my keyboard or I can click apply filters here. So that I can show you exactly what I'm doing on the screen, I'm going to go ahead and click on apply filters. So that brings me back the 32 work groups or shops that are part of the Terrell State Hospital organization. In this particular instance, I'm going to select the carpentry shop by clicking in the radio button next to the name and then saying OK. And that brings in that value for me on the work task. The customer organization is automatically filled in based on your login, and I logged in as Trish Perry, and she is a part of the Terrell State Hospital organization. Then I'm going to go ahead and select a primary work location. Now again, you can either type that value in or you can use the locator icon with the little green query square next to it, and since there are so many buildings on a campus, I'm going to go ahead and click on that locator icon. Now you can see that the default query displayed here is all state hospital and state supported living center buildings. That's a lot. But let's say that you wanted to indicate an entire floor where the work was taking place. You can click on this list icon here and select a subquery that says all floors. And then that brings back all the floors and all the buildings for a total of 5,867 floors. Let's say that you wanted to indicate the exact space or room in which the work is taking place. You can click on this subquery list icon again and select all spaces. There are 54,225 spaces or rooms on all the state hospital and state supported living center campuses. So now I'm going to search for the room that I want to do the work in. And I know I want to do work on my campus, which is 682, and I know actually that 682 doesn't have a building 501, so I'm going to change this to 682-500. And then I'm going to go ahead and say apply filters. And that brings back all the rooms in building 500. Now I could scroll through that list of rooms. In fact, let me just scroll down a little bit here. I could scroll through this entire list of rooms to find the room that I'm looking for, or I could limit my search to only those rooms on the second floor by putting a -2 in my runtime filter and clicking apply filters. And now I'm only seeing the rooms on the second floor, and that way I only have 28 that I have to scroll through. Or if I knew the exact room in which the work was taking place, I could type 682-500-2, and the work is taking place in room 219. I would type in 219 and click apply filters, and that brings back just the room that I'm looking for. So there's lots of ways to use the runtime filters. I'm going to go ahead and select room 219 by putting mark in the radio button next to the value, and I'm going to say OK. And that pulls in the primary work location. I'm going to go back up here to my description and change it so that it's more accurate. Just adding a little more detail to that. The next field is the activity code, and I know a lot of you veteran CAFM specialists have these activity codes memorized, but for those of you that are new or relatively new, you can click on the locator icon, and it has the entire list of activity codes. There are a lot of them. We've tried to trim them down, but there are still a lot. So I'm just going to go ahead and pick one that's related to plumbing, that's related to renovating a bathroom, just something that seemed appropriate. When I click on that, notice that the building system code automatically fills in. So I don't need to worry about completing that field. However, I can change the building system code if it's not the appropriate one for the activity code. If I need to, I just click on the locator icon again, and I'm going to say HVAC piping. It doesn't change my activity code, but I can change my building system code. Even though these two don't match in reality, I'm just showing you how you can make that happen. The next field, department, deals with the department that is most often requesting the work or doing the work, and the default value in that field is maintenance. The next field was added at the request of plant manager at San Angelo State Supported Living Center, and it's reporting the task cause. What is it that caused the work to have to be done, whether it's normal wear, an employee caused the issue, a client caused the issue, or through negligence. So that allows you to pick a value and indicate what it was that caused the task to occur. I'm going to scroll down a little bit now. Now, the normal process for handling work tasks is different at every facility. Some facilities still continue to receive requests for work via email and telephone, while other facilities are making use of what's called Work Requester and having their building managers log into CAFM 9 and submit a request for work. When the building manager submits a request for work, it automatically creates a work task. If that were to occur, the request contact name, contact phone, and room number would automatically map from the request into these fields. Because you're creating a work task on the fly, and I'm showing you how to do that, there's no information in these fields. So you would put the information for the building manager in these fields. And I'm just going to type Some of you might recognize this as the telephone number to reach the CAFM office. And the room number field, even though you have the room number up here in the primary work location, what you can do with this field is you can add more description of that room. So you can say something like, room is behind the telecom room. Now, one thing I neglected to mention through this whole process is I'm going along and I'm typing this information in here, and let's say something interrupts me and I'm taken away from my desk. I come back and the system has automatically logged me out, and that does happen. The system is designed to time you out after 20 minutes. So what you want to do is you want to make use of saving the record on a frequent basis. Now, when you first come in and you create a task, the only action that's going to be available to you is create draft or activate. You don't want to activate it yet because activating it locks everything on the screen. So you want to go ahead and create a draft. Nothing has been written to the database until you click on create draft. So I'm going to go ahead and click on that. Now you'll see that the task status changes to draft and the assignment status changes to unassigned. You also have a lot more items that you can choose from here at the top, and one of those is save. So if you elect to save, which I would strongly suggest that you do frequently, you just save the record and continue working. If you're finished with this particular record and have nothing else to do on it, you can say save and close, and that saves your information and closes the record. I'll talk about these other actions in just a minute. So I'm going to go ahead and scroll down here to the next section, which is assign date. You don't have to fill anything in here. That automatically occurs when you assign the work to a technician and then click assign technician or click activate. It'll put the assignment date automatically right here. So how do I assign to a technician? Well, the first thing you need to do is click on the Find People action right here. I'm going to go ahead and click on that. And this is a query that returns all 4,787 people in the CAFM system, which is a lot to scroll through, but again, you have your handy runtime filters right here at the top. And all you have to do is type in your employee's name. So I'm going to use Bobby Oates as my guinea pig because I know he happens to be in there. So I'm going to type his last name and his first initial. I don't have to type his first initial, but I'm going to go ahead and type it in there and click Apply Filters, and you can see that brings back his record. I'm going to select his name by putting a check mark in the box next to his name, and then I'm going to say OK. So now you can see Bobby Oates' name is attached to this record. But if you scroll back up to the top of the record, the assignment status still says unassigned. The actual assignment does not occur until you either click Assign Technician or Activate. That allows you to continue working in the record. Let's scroll down a little bit more. The next section has the vendor information in it. If a vendor does the work, you can make note of that here. This has vendor work field is just a yes or no field so that we can create reports easier for you as to whether the work task has vendor work in it or not. I'm going to go ahead and say yes, it does. And then I'm going to click my locator icon with the green square, which means it's got a query behind it. And I only want the vendors for Terrell State Hospital because that's my fake facility. So I'm going to type 682, and then I'm going to apply filters, and that brings in the 124 vendors that work with Terrell State Hospital. So I'm just going to select one by clicking in the radio button next to its name and saying OK, and it automatically puts that information in the field for me. Now I'm going to click on the erase button, and I'm going to show you another trick with this field when it's a locator icon with a green square. I'm going to erase this. Scroll back down to it. And I'm going to start by typing a value in here rather than searching for it with the locator icon. So I'm going to type 682. What the system then does is it brings back the first few values in the list that contain 682. And if, for example, I was picking alpha fire alarm and it was at the top of my list, I could stop typing right there and just pick alpha fire alarm by clicking on it. Or if I wanted to go to a different portion of the alphabet, I could type 682-B, and then it's going to bring back all my B values, or 682-C, and then it's going to bring back all my vendors who start with a C. So that's kind of handy. It's a little bit of a shortcut. So I'll go ahead and pick Clifford Power Systems by clicking on their name. The next section has to do with maintenance projects. You can either create a maintenance project separately from a task, or you can add one here. And discussion of maintenance projects is outside the scope of this particular training. It's covered in a different movie. As is the requests section here, because if a task is created on the fly, you're generally not going to have a request that's associated to it inside the system. Next is the terminate details. This really only applies also if you have a request that was automatically created into a task and you've reviewed it and the decision is that you're not going to do the work. This is where you would terminate the task. Again, that's outside the scope of this particular training. And the next section contains your actual completion data. You would put an actual start date in here and an actual end date in here, and that information is either gotten from the work task, the printed work task that you gave to the technician who wrote that information on there, or you would put the actual start date in here when you assign it to the technician and the actual end date when you receive it back from the technician. So I'm going to go ahead and click on the calendar icon here, and I'm going to select today's date, and it'll automatically map that in here for me. Or if I wanted to type it in, let me erase that. I could type in 08/06/2012, and the date has to be in this format. And then if I tab out of it, it puts a time there as well. You don't need to edit the time unless procedurally your plant manager has decided that he or she wants to know the exact time when something started and ended. But and that feature is available, but you don't have to put it in there. So now I'm going to do what I strongly encouraged you to do all along, which is to save the record. And I'm going to go ahead and click on Assign Technician. I'll cover these other tabs in other training. And so what that does is it automatically assigns the work to the technician and closes the window. So if the technician logs in, he or she should see that work. Notice now that there is, because I have a work order or work task that's been created, the pie chart now shows up in the Open Corrective Tasks by Building section. So I've finished with that work task, and I'm going to go ahead and log out as I would when I'm finished with my work. That concludes this training. Thank you for your time, and please let your CAFM specialist or the CAFM office know if you have any questions.